Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Our guest today is Blair Kaplan Venables, and we are going to talk about social media. Welcome to the show, Blair.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me, Alicia.
So you are not just some average social media self-proclaimed guru. You are one of the founding social media self-proclaimed gurus. I'd love to start by talking a little bit about what you're doing with your business so our listeners can get a feel for who you are, what you do, and why you're so damn good at what you do.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Woo. I feel like I now need to live up to what you just said.
That's right.
Okay.
No pressure.
Okay. So let's just go a little bit backwards in time. First of all, if you're listening, you can't see me. I mean, if you could see me, you're not going to know how old I am anyways, because I believe in filler and Botox. But I am a vintage millennial. Okay. So I was born in the 80s. So I am of the generation that grew up without social media, but it became a thing when I was in my late teens, early 20s. So I went to school for public relations. Public relations is the planned effort to influence public opinion. It's a form of communications in the marketing space. Social media marketing was not a thing when I went to school. It was not even a tool used by marketers. And I worked for a company called Lululemon Athletica, and I moved from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, I'm Canadian, to Edmonton, Alberta, to Vancouver. Because, Vancouver, if you've been there, you know why I moved. It's amazing. But after 3.5 years, I wanted to do public relations. It was hard to move up in the organization. So I was like, well, I'm just going to start my own business. So it's 23, new city, one of the most expensive cities in the world. No idea what I was doing, except I knew what I was doing in PR. And so I started a business and I started networking, and I started a coupon company because I wanted free yoga. And that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother interview. But because of that, I was out networking. Now, the lesson there is don't start a coupon company and just pay for the yoga class. But I'm grateful for that because it opened a lot of doors for me. I would be out and about networking my little face off, letting people know about the coupon company, having meetings with people, one-on-one meetings, talking about PR. And one of the first questions was, do you know how to use social media for PR? Do you know how to do social media marketing? And even when I had no idea, I said yes. And there was no one to learn from. There was no mentors. There were no coaches. There were no courses. There were no free webinars. There was no, degrees in social media. So I took what I knew from public relations and applied it to the digital space. And what's really funny, so this is about 14 years ago, it'll be 14 years in July. So in 2008, at the very end of June is when I incorporated. I wouldn't even admit I was a social media marketer. I was like, no, I do digital communications. I do social media PR. It took me a while to even embrace that I did social media marketing, but marketing is marketing. And so I started working with organizations, big organizations, global organizations who weren't on social media, helping them get on social media, leading workshops, doing private coaching and group coaching, going into organizations and doing lunch and learns, coming up with my own workshops. I had one called Social Media WTF, WordPress, Twitter, Facebook. I just saw opportunities. A platform would come out. Pinterest came out, the business community in Vancouver. Do you teach Pinterest for business? And I would say yes, and go home and figure out what worked, and then teach it. So my background is literally, I became one of the sources of social media. And so where am I today? So today, now I no longer live in Vancouver. I'm in Kamloops, British Columbia. I teach and work with clients all over the world, group coaching and private coaching, specifically focusing on the social media empowerment pillars. And this is a system I've been using for over a decade. It's a system I created, but there's 7 specific pillars that you need to build out in a social media strategy so that you are seen as a thought leader. Do you guys want to know?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You can't leave us there.
Okay.
You have to go into that.
Okay. First of all, thought leadership. You want to be a thought leader. When you're a thought leader, that means you are the source that other industry experts look up to for guidance. you get media spots, like publicity, like media comes to you or media wants to talk about you. Clients start coming to you. You don't have to look for clients anymore. Being a thought leader means that you are that avant-garde, that pioneer, that source. And that means you have ideas, new ideas, innovative ideas on how to do things better in your space. And you actually implement them, because a lot of us have ideas, but a lot of us don't implement them. You're excited to fail. You try things, you fail, you tweak, you try, you fail, you tweak, you try, you succeed, you do, you teach, right? It's this whole entire process. So these are the pillars that you want to build out so that you can use your social media to be a recognized thought leader. And I'm known as a thought leader in the social media space, and I'm known as a thought leader in the resilience space. So the pillars, there are 7. There is E for edutain. That is all things content. That's educate and entertain. There is M for money. Money. I didn't even have money goals or how much I wanted to make or an advertising budget. I just spent whatever on ads because social media is pay for play. And like, I just knew I needed to make enough money to pay my bills, but I had a huge mindset shift, which we're going to talk about later. But money. P is for personas. Who's your customers? Who are you creating content for? Maybe you're creating specific content for a specific niche. Maybe it's broader, but you need to know who you're creating content for, because that's going to determine where you post it, how you post it, and how you tell your stories. O is for other players. You got to know who could be taking your clients' money if it's not you. Where are people spending money if they're not spending it with you? Where are they spending time online if they're not spending it with you? W is for the win. This is one of my favorite pillars. This is the publicity, PR, exposure pillar, but also the pillar where we get to peacock. You get to stick out your feathers and shimmy to attract clients. Okay. This is where you share your wins. You landed that meeting, you landed that client, you learned that software. Like I just taught myself Kartra. I've been outsourcing it and I always will, but I was like, I need to learn how to do this so I can quickly make changes instead of like waiting for the turnaround. It took me hours. And I'll probably outsource it to VAs in the future, but that was a huge win. Okay. E, engagement. So there's 2 E's, edutain. The second one's engagement. That's the humanization element, because we don't post and ghost. We post and then we engage. We post and we comment and we engage on stickers and we share. We aren't just there to toot our own horns. We only do a little toot. We only toot our horn a little. We toot other people's horns louder. And then R, the last pillar, is realistic goals. This is the future. How do you know where you're going if you don't have a plan? I like to do 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goals. I like to set personal, health, and professional goals. And in fact, I break that down even monthly. Every month, I look at what I want to do for the next month financially. What do I want to achieve? What media do I want to be in? What kind of wins do I want? And then I set them and then I work towards them. So the empowerment pillars, that is
love it. Love it. Let's continue on with that realistic goal. So what is realistic for people when it comes to social media marketing? Because we've all seen dozens of ads promising very extravagant results by following this course or that program or this strategy. So what is realistic?
Okay. I guess I'm like the social media expert. I'm not the person that you're going to see on social media making reels and doing a bunch of like 5 tips to more reach. Boop, boop, boop. Like, that's not me. I believe in a methodology where you tell stories. You don't sell. You're vulnerable. You're real. You let people in. You don't have to obviously tell everything. Like, I don't talk too much about my marriage. My husband doesn't like to be on social media. Like, I always have to ask permission because I respect that. I don't share everything. And like, there's certain things, obviously, my family, I'm not going to share, but I share the good, the bad, the ugly, the laughs, the cries, the real stuff. And because I believe in telling stories and not selling, I'm not creating content for an algorithm. So an algorithm, every social media network has its own like program per se that's always changing, that will tell the program if your post on social media should be shown to more people or less people. I don't create content that way, and you shouldn't either. You should create content that's going to build a relationship of like, know, and trust. So what does that mean? It means, do likes on a post matter? Yeah. But should that be one of your top KPIs that determine if what you're doing is right or not? No. because I don't like every single thing I see on social media. Sometimes I see your post and I scroll past it fast and still digest it, and it's not considered in the reach. So reach is important, but if people don't see your posts and in that time, and then you don't look at the analytics for that post, but maybe something blows up in 3 weeks, people are going to see that post. Comments are great because it shows that people are actually engaged with your content. So comments are really good. Shares of your content to stories and, just shares of your content to other people's platforms, really good. But the most important metric to know if what you're doing works is money. Is money coming in? Is money going out? And also knowing what the goals of your life are. I've decided, like right now I'm a little busy because a bunch of projects that were supposed to be spread out happened to all land at once. And I really try hard not to be busy. For me, busy is toxic and chaotic. I like to live a life of pleasure, slow pace. I like to ease into my day and hike and take breaks and create really potent content and lessons. So for me, success isn't just dollars in the bank, but it's waking up and being able to go for a hike and have a candlelit bath and journal all before 7 a.m. and listen to music and pet my cats and ease into my day. I don't have kids. There's a caveat. Just me, my husband, and some cats. But so I think the most important metric you need to know, it's not about how many people are following you. It's about, are you making consistent income, and are you reaching your money goals? And is your income increasing? Social media is a piece of the marketing puzzle. You should not only rely on social media. Who remembers when Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, sorry, there's dinging happening. I usually don't ding. When Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp and all those companies are all owned by the same company, Meta, went down before it became Meta, people were lost. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. We don't own our social media followers. We own our email list. That's our, we own that email list. We don't own you, but that list is ours. I have 30,000 plus followers on Instagram. It disappears. I don't have 30,000 emails on my list. I hope to. Please sign up, blairkaplan.ca. But you know what I mean? And when that went down, people went to Twitter and LinkedIn, but a lot of people were only on Facebook and Instagram, and they only use those tools to communicate. Sorry, I totally went off the path. Basically, money. Are you making money? That's important. That's the most important metric. And are you having fun?
I love what you shared about getting people off of social media and onto your email list. So we want to nurture those relationships on social media. But there is a lot of wisdom in what you're sharing here. And really, really sophisticated marketers have been talking about this for years. Right. The money is in the list, and email marketing is not necessarily what it used to be. It used to be that you could almost put a dollar, a value amount on every email that you had on your list. And now we have a lot of deliverability issues, and people have sort of almost been they're kind of over getting so many emails.
Oh my God. My favorite thing to do is unsubscribe. Every day I'm okay, I don't think I've read this person's email in 3 years. I should unsubscribe.
But there is still a lot of value in getting emails from those people that are high on our list right now. So if I'm investing in a program, I'm going to open everything that individual is sending to my email. Maybe not everything, but you know what I mean. If I'm intrigued by what someone is offering and I'm on their email list, that is that's still incredibly valuable. So there's a lot of value, I think, still in email marketing, and there are different values to each different platform. So when you're working with your clients on building up their social media following, I'm sure that there are plenty of people who sort of have achieved that influencer status. They've got, tens of thousands of followers on Instagram or even like their Facebook page or whatever it is. And they're missing opportunities to monetize. So when you're working with your clients, are you helping them to sort of bridge that gap?
So the empowerment pillars, the strategy I like to create is about that. So it's about that. Like, what are your strategies outside of social media and how are you going to drive people to sign up for those workshops? Download your white paper, download your ebook. Like, it's about creating conversations on social media. So yes, that's exactly what I do, because the empowerment pillars is what you need to build out. And part of your strategy is like, what are you doing off social media? How can people keep getting access to you when they're not on Instagram? What are you going to do to grow your list?
And just because I think it is worth mentioning, you're a very, very savvy businesswoman. So you are doing the trainings, the master classes, the webinars, the courses, all the stuff. I mean, you've got a robust business that's built out above and beyond just being a social media influencer. And I want to bring that to the forefront, because there are a lot of people who have a nice facade, we'll say, but it's one thing to just figure out how to get a whole bunch of followers. And it's a whole nother thing to be able to actually run a successful business. And you've got like the full package. And I think that lends a tremendous amount of credibility over someone who promises, I can get you X number of subscribers. You're actually helping people integrate this into their business and marketing strategy as a viable marketing technique.
Yes, that's exactly it. I mean, and it's changing. Like, if you're listening to this interview in 3 years from now, it's going to be completely different. Like, I will be online on Instagram. I do a bunch of stuff, come back an hour later, and there's something that's changed. And I have to relearn something and then refigure out the formula and reintegrate it into how I teach. But the principles, the highest level thing that you need to know is that people don't want to be sold to. They want to hear your stories. 2 seconds, 200 words, doesn't matter. Maybe it's a video, maybe it's written out, maybe it's a 10-part series. People want to know, why do you do what you do and who the heck are you? It makes you relatable. That's what's important. We want to build relationships. We're coming out of a pandemic, or are we still in it? I don't even know. I feel like it's like just my life is a pandemic lately. But like, we want connection because we haven't really had connection. So how are we building that connection? Like, I've been building my social media following for a while, but I have people reaching out to me. I've been following you for years, never reached out. Just want to introduce myself. Thank you for sharing about, losing your mom and how you navigated that loss, because you really provided me the tools that I need. And now my mom is sick and I'm going to need your support, and your stories have helped. And you don't have to go that deep, but that's just, what you see is what you get. I came into the world blaring and I share my life.
Really valuable. And
there's a place for it. There's a place for it. Yeah.
And I've had people over the many years that I've been in business who will say very, very directly, I really resonated with your story, with what you've been through. And that relatability really does bridge a big gap, because a lot of us we've created so many defenses around us because we have been sold. And when I say that, I'm referring to all of the promises that people don't necessarily deliver on. So we are very skeptical. We've been trained to be very, very skeptical. And what we're really looking for is that connection, someone that we know we can trust.
Exactly. And you can still follow this approach and be new in business. Yes, I'm almost 14 years old in business land, but you are doing what you're doing because you've had these experiences that led you to this very moment. It doesn't make, like, you're an expert, whether it's 14 days or 14 years and anything in between. It's not, oh, I just started my business. What do I know? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm too new. No, you don't. You have this entire life that you've been doing things that have led to this moment, especially if you sit and think about it. Like, I made a post on social media recently about all the times I've done entrepreneurial things in my life. Sold lemonade, imported cigar box purses. I had my mom sign up for Avon and I went door to door selling makeup, like babysitting, all the things that I've done. And I started reflecting on like all these things as a kid. I didn't say one day, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be a psychologist and realized probably need one, shouldn't be one. And then I went to PR and I didn't know I wanted to be a social media expert because that wasn't even a profession. But I'm an entrepreneur and it literally pulses through my veins, hence the name of my book. But like, I think about my life and all the things that happen, little moments or memories that make me who I am. So I think, yeah, like it's a really fun process. I invite you, Alicia, and everyone listening to start kind of telling your stories. Like, don't sell me your product. Tell me why you created this product and how it's helped you. Tell me about why you do this service. Tell me about a time that worked, a client win, a time that didn't work, something when you pivoted. Like, how did you achieve receiving that accounts payable you chased down for 2 months? How many times did you send that follow-up email? Like, like, let us know, share it. And then also, like, if you don't tell these stories, how can we celebrate you? Like, I don't know that you spent 10 years formulating this plan and whatever. And like, I want to celebrate you and know how epic you are. And then I'll share it to my community because we should be lifting each other up. There's enough competition. There's enough business to go around. And I believe in collaboration over competition.
Lot of gold nuggets there.
Oh yeah.
So,
I'm a nugget.
Hit the rewind button.
Pause, rewind, slow down.
Okay, let's pivot because this is the perfect segue. So I'd love to speak to you as the business owner. And I would really love for you to share with us one mindset obstacle that you personally had to overcome in order to get to where you are today.
I might have to share two.
You are welcome to share too.
Okay, thanks. I've recently had to learn that I have money trauma. Daughter of, child of divorce, single mom who worked really hard to give us a good education and the life she envisioned. But my mom had money trauma because the life she envisioned involved like Hebrew school and summer camp and lessons. And we had a lot of support, but my mom had money trauma and was always really careful about where she spent money. And so what I learned a few years ago was that I had money trauma and I had to overcome some big obstacles. And one of the biggest lessons is that money is energy. There's always a way to make more money. You spend it, you make it. I'm not saving for retirement. I'm living my life now. My mom and my dad and my father-in-law all died within a year, all died in their 60s. I'm not living, and my dad retired because he was sick, but Dave and my mother did not retire. They were saving for retirement. I'm living my life now. And that I know if I need to make money, there's always a way to make money. There's always a way. Okay. So money, you can make it and spend it, enjoy your life, and know that there's always a way to make money. I can't remember what my second one was. I got really passionate there. Oh, I know what it is. Don't spend all your hours awake working. There's so much more to life than social media and work. Like, I love camping off the grid. I love taking pictures. You might see me on my phone a lot. It's because I take lots of pictures. Like, photography is my passion, but like, don't work all day. Like, figure out what you do best. What can you outsource and enjoy your life? Like, some of us have jobs. We have to work 9 to 5, but I'm assuming if you're listening to this, we didn't start our business to work 14 hours a day. Build better systems, get a business coach, get a marketing coach, join some masterminds or other business owners. When I hear people bragging about working 14 hours a day, every day, and who cares how much money you make, that's not a quality of life. Like, there's a huge life out there. Like, what are you escaping from? You should, love your job and love your life. And there's ways to balance it all. that's what I wanted to share.
Awesome. So those are two really, really, really good ones, Blair, because you're not the only one that is bumping up against those things, or who has in the past bumped up against those things. We may have talked on maybe on your podcast or one of the other times that we've chatted, but I have my money mindset intensive program, which I did not because I want to be perceived in the marketplace as a money mindset coach, because my real passion is helping my clients overcome their mental fuckery and achieve incredible lives. But the money piece is such a big issue, and not just for new business owners. We're talking about many of my clients that I've worked with over the years who already have achieved multi-million dollars in their businesses, are still dealing with money shame, money trauma, limiting beliefs around money, so much fear, so much negative mental conditioning that is holding them back from enjoying life, achieving more, getting paid what they really truly are worth. I mean, these are real issues that are so incredibly common, and we are indoctrinated into a culture through religion, spirituality, even the family stuff that we grew up with. And so much of that, if you look around, right? So you've got the evil 1%ers, which is a very unfair stigma, because many of the people that I know that are in the 1% are incredibly heart-centered, very philanthropic, such good people. But when you're in that collective group of people that are struggling and in scarcity and in fear, it infiltrates your consciousness. And when you want to start to rise up above that, you're bumping up against years worth of beliefs and projections and all sorts of wacky stuff. So I think we need to take the dogma out of the whole money conversation, because I know for a long time, I had horrible money shame, horrible. Didn't have as much as some of my peers, therefore I'm less than. Had more than some of my peers or family, and therefore I'm a bad person. It's like you're getting it from all angles, and it's such a taboo subject, and yet it is the thing that so many people need to heal, to break free and actually really allow themselves to enjoy their life and not feel like they're always overcompensating by being a workaholic.
Right. That is potent. I think that's one of the biggest challenges in business. Like, it took me over 10 years to deal with the money shame and the money trauma. Like, I mean, luckily, again, like, I'm in my late 30s. If I would have learned this earlier, I think things would have been different. And then I don't know. I mean, everything I have done has led me to today, but for, people listening to this podcast and, they're inspired, start working on it. Start working on that.
Blair, this has been an incredible conversation. How can our listeners connect with you?
Oh, let's just keep it simple. I have a website. Shocking. And my website is blairkaplan.ca. BLAIRKAPLAN.ca. There you can find all of my social links. You can subscribe to my mailing list. I have a stress-free social media checklist that you can download there. I'm also the founder of something called the Global Resilience Project. It has nothing yet, everything to do with business. And it's my personal story, but you want to learn about that, check out the stories of resilience. buy the book, whatever it might be. You can learn for all about that on my blairkaplan.ca webpage. And my favorite social media account, because I know some of you are wondering, where can I find her? I'm really big into Instagram. I'm Blair from Blairland on Instagram, but I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook.
Excellent. Great conversation. Lots of good takeaways. I hope that we had people taking notes. Get out there, tell your story, work through your money stuff, get in contact with Blair. She is a rock star at what she does. Thank you so much again, Blair. It has been a pleasure having you on and sharing you with my audience.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a fun conversation.
Thank you, of course, to all of our listeners. We love and appreciate you so much. If you have not already subscribed, please make sure you do so. And until next time, we will see you in the next episode.